Alright guys, what is up with all of you beautiful people who are sitting in front of the computer, or tablet or whatever you know the name? It is Sub-Zero Exabyte here coming to you with another video right here from the Elevator Store. And I know that this place does not really look familiar to you people, but that does not mean that this is a bad thing. Although we did have a lot of bad experiences with previous train rides and such, but we will leave those ghosts in the pasts and we will now focus on the future, and the future being these new planes. So basically the story on what got me back here was that I owed a friend of mine for a reason that you do not need to know at this point. Maybe I will come back on that one, but do not get your hopes up. So I owed this buddy of mine, and he works in this airport, and he was like, "Yo dude, we need some testers for our new airplane line." And at first I was like, "Oh no, I am not doing that stuff ever again." And he was like, "Well, you still owe me dude, so you better pay up, otherwise bad things will happen." And now at this point I was not scared or anything. I mean, look at me. I could beat the guy up fair and square. I mean, I could let him bake the cake and I would take his cake and eat it too. But that is not how I roll in this block world. I try to be an honest person, and I try to be a fair person. So after a couple of hours of making up excuses on why I was not able to come, I ran out of excuses and I came around. So that brings me here in this Oh alright, never mind, we seem to be fine. I was just going to say that I would sell my soul to Lucifer, but I am glad that I did not say that out loud. Wait, I just said it out loud. That does not count, right? You will not get my soul today, Satan. I am saving this for a rainy day, and that rainy day is not today, because look at this, we have survived, or at least we are surviving. Hold up. Wait a second, is this a way out? This looks rather familiar for some reason, but I cannot quite lay my finger on it. Oh, alright, now I do remember it. This is the worst airplane that is ever made. This thing is straight up bad if you ask me. I will not put myself through something like this ever again in my entire blocky life. I will not. Alright, I will one more time, but just because I want to get that slice of life and I do not want to die, because that is one reason for me to get out of here. Alright sub, prepare yourself for the worst thing ever. For the third time ever. I cannot believe that I fell for this again. I just wanted to try and get out of here. I am such a failure. Now maybe I was the one that ended up crashing the darn plane because I was pushing all kinds of buttons in the cockpit. But that does not mean that I should be blamed for it. I mean, a lot of people push my buttons every day, and that does not make them someone to blame. I mean, it kind of does. But I am trying to prove a point here. So I am just going to pretend like nothing like that just happened in the first place. Now since we have crashed on an island, I guess that we need to make some shelter or something. I mean, something really good and something really new. Now with that said, I am just going to be building a cool new house. And we have been building some new houses for a while now, so that gets pretty complacent pretty fast. But right now we are building something new for something spectacular. So please take notes with everything that I am going to be doing today. So just make sure that whatever I am doing right now will be something that you can learn a thing or two from, and then we can go on and go out and about so that we can actually finish this thing today. Because this is not going to be just any freaking house, you guys. This is going to be the biggest house that you have ever seen. But hold your horses, because first we are going to be making a plain house, and then, well, you will see by the time that we get to that. But I can assure you that it is going to rock your freaking socks off. So be cautious for that, in case you really like your socks. Now this might become a little annoying though, because it will be taking a lot of work to get finished. Now of course we all know that sometimes we get annoyed in this game, right? I mean, we all have our differences, and usually they are only short lasting and they never really get that much out of hand, right? Well, today is the day that I snapped. I am just done with it right now. Again and again I keep having these people finding out where I live, and it is just driving me nuts. Now I have already tried training them in order to make them respect me and know a thing or two about the game. Now that did not work at all, because that literally just blew up in my face. Then I have gone the complete other way around and I just started planting traps everywhere, which again just ended up blowing up in my face, taking my house with them. Then I give the training another shot, which did not work at all. And then after that everything got pretty calm again. But then people started stealing out of my chest, and that is when I went into full defense mode again, and I started hiding the chests that I own just so that people cannot get to them. I mean, a lot of stupid stuff has happened throughout the last couple of weeks, but you know, I guess that this is just my life right now. Even though I must confess that the things that we have been doing the last week are pretty okay. I mean, there there were no sightings of random people who tried to mess with me or anything like that, so that is something that I really do appreciate right now. Now that does not mean that everything is over and said and done and all of that, because it is not. I can feel that a war is coming. I am just not sure about the timing of said war. It might be coming soon, but it might not. Right now I cannot give a clear answer on that. But what is necessary for me and my morale right now is that we get this house done. I mean, just look at how good we are doing with this house right now. So just take a look. And by the way, I hope that you are paying close attention, because I am not going to show you this again. But once we are done with this house, I will have a new and cool plain house for myself to live in. And of course you guys too, if you follow along. That is like the best idea that I have ever come up with right now. But first things first, I am already proud of the fact that I was able to get the idea from myself, which I had applied to the chest/stealing problem. So that was a pretty awesome thing, to be honest. But I was able to apply that same idea that I used on the chest problem, and I am going to be putting it to work with the housing problem that I have got right now. But I am just hoping that once I am done with all of this right here, that I can just live here in peace again. But something is telling me that this will not work out the way that I wanted it to. It is just something that I feel coming up. I mean, that does not mean that this is a bad thing. I mean, I would rather have things go wrong while I am in the beginning stages of building this, because otherwise I would have to start all over again when I am almost done. But that is not something that I want to do right now. So I am just praying to the gods that this will all work out in one go this time. Since I have to make this a lot bigger for this to work, this is going to be hard. But it is just something that I will have to cope with until everything right here has all been sorted out. And I can tell you that when the day comes, I am going to be celebrating so hard that it actually is pretty insane to myself. I mean, I am going to be excited like crazy once I am all done with this thing, because I just think that after all this time that I just deserve a little break from everything right now. I mean, we have been through a lot the last couple of months, and I mean, this house is actually going to be pretty hard to build, so I have to watch out for that as well, since we otherwise will end up with a house that looks like doo-doo. And we already made a lot of noob houses, so that is not in my interest right now. But that was the point where all of the noobs game tagging along and starting invading all of my personal space. And I know that all of this sounds really familiar and stuff. And to be honest, the last couple of months I have just been a broken record running over and over and over again. So I am just going to be hoping that this bigger approach to my house actually works. Otherwise, like I just said, I am going to be real cool man. Okay, maybe not a cool man because it is not like the houses are that cool, but I am just going to be making sure that once I get this done that I am going to go right back to bed for like a week, because right now I actually am kind of a dead man when it comes to this. I mean, there is no such thing as getting too much sleep for me right now, because right now it just feels like I am not even doing anything anymore. All day long I am just roaming around my house and stuff without a thought, and I am just so tired that I have got no idea what to go do. But then when I think that I might be able to go to bed, and the second that my head hits my pillowcase, there is another person at my door and I have got to get up again to be able to defend the fort. I mean, there is not worse feeling than this, but all of that will soon come to an end because I actually feel confident about this right now. But however I might be feeling about this plane of mine that I am building, it will still take a lot of time before I am actually done with this thing, because there is just so much work to do right now. Maybe I should hire some people to come and work for me and build this thing for me. Oh wait, never mind, I am cool right now and that is not what I should do, because I am trying to keep the people out of this Minecraft realm. And of course, if they were to be the ones who build this thing, then they would be finding out where I would live, or I should pack it up and move it somewhere else. But I will not go and do that because that looks like just a little bit too much of a hassle, which is not what I am looking for right now, because if I have got to work even more on this thing I will probably end up losing my mind over it, which is not what I am looking for right now. So I am just going to go ahead and get this all over with so that I can actually get some stuff done instead of trying to be a builder and a talker at the same time. So I am just going to make sure that I am completely read up on all of their house strategies and their language and all of that stuff. So take some milk, sit down and kids get ready to learn. And the topic of today's learning with Sub-Zero Exabyte will consist out of some really cool footage of me building houses and destroying noobs, while I try to get as smart as humanly possible on the noob kind, which is going to be very tricky, At least that is one of my first guesses right now. So apparently the first thing to learn is that the word noob is taken from the word newbie, which is spelled NESWBIE. So that might not be as interesting as I thought that it would be, but at least it will kind of keep you heading into the right direction overall. Now noob is a slang term for a novice or a newcomer, or somebody inexperienced in any profession or activity. So that means that a noob is someone who is new to the game, but that is something that we already figured out on our own and we do not need Wikipedia for that. But it goes on with the following sentence. Contemporary use can particularly refer to a beginner or new user of computers, often concerning internet activity, such as online gaming. So you are a noob when you are new to an online game. I mean, they could have just formulated that a lot shorter, but for some odd reason they decided to leave it that long. I mean, I am not complaining, but something is telling me that they could have done that way shorter back there. So basically my first option was not that stupid, and that was to just go ahead and teach all of those noobs how this game works. I mean, that sounds pretty decent, right? Well, wrong, because no matter how much you teach them, they will always manage to find a way where they can just slack and they will still end up blowing up your house. But that is not something that I want to talk about right now, because that might be bringing me back into tears again. Now let me tell you this, that I am not going to be trying the forceful way again, because that also did not work for me for one bit at all. But that is just a flow though that I am trying to hop like a freaking train right now. But of course there is more to a noob than just the stupid word noob. I am just thinking out loud right now, so just bear with me so that we can actually get done with some stuff right here, because otherwise we are still going to be building on this thing for the better part of a year or something like that. But to be honest, that is just an educated guess on my end of the spectrum. But let's continue with what I was saying a minute ago, and I was talking about building a modern cool house, because this is something that I think is really awesome, because the biggest house like this is by far my favorite one out of all of the styles that you have got around here today, which is not that good now that I start thinking about it. It is actually smart that I think about this kind of stuff right now before I start doing them in the first place. But still, that would be pretty cool. At least that is what I think. I mean, no one is going to expect a thing right now, and that is exactly what I want with this right here. So no one will ever be able to go and start stealing some of my ideas again, which is good, so that I do not have go out and make more stuff over and over and over and over again. Now of course it would not be that much of a bad idea to be building a freaking doomsday shelter, because those things usually are hidden somewhere way down in the ground, which is like a place where no one will ever find them, which is mad decent to me. I mean, come on, that would like be the best thing ever for someone in my position. But I mean, the doomsday shelter would be a good idea, because when something happens I would be okay down there. I mean, when the doomsday would come, and we would all be dead except for them, aka the people who actually took the time to build a doomsday shelter like that. Well, at that moment we would not even be able to have the last laugh, because we are not able to laugh about things when we are dead. I mean, it sounds pretty sad, right? But it is the harsh truth. But then again, right now I am just going to use these hiding places for my new chests, and not for some kind of doomsday preparation techniques or something like that. So that is pretty alright, I guess. At least we have some time to think about everything that might be going to happen or something. But not today, because the house is big enough already. Now we are basically done, so that I can test to see if this base is fully operational. Yes, I just quoted Star Wars again. What are you going to do about it? That is right, there is nothing that you can do about it, because right now Sub-Zero Exabyte is a free man. Of course that means if there will be no visitors coming around right now, because then he would have been able to hear my entire plan and I would be screwed either way. But of course that does not matter right now. So just like I said, there is going to be a lot changing around here, since I cannot just go out and about anymore, and I will have to stick close to my house, because otherwise there will be a lot going on throughout my days. But I will make sure that I can still do whatever is necessary to make these videos for you guys, even if it means that I am going to be making a video that is just me sitting in a chair by some fireplace in a red kimono with some kind of a pipe and a newspaper. Yeah, just imagine me sitting like that. But with all of that said, it is time for me to move on with this and to not get distracted anymore. So I am closing the video right now. I still hope that you have enjoyed this as much as ever, and I would love to see you guys in the next video.